Hey, Dave from Eerie Arachnids here. I'm doing a interesting little thing for the month of March. We're going to do a March Madness kind of deal. So every week on Friday I will upload, that'll be Friday night probably, upload March Madness. Will be kind of like the highlights of the week, things that have happened over the course of that week, and then maybe a mixed up bunch of stuff. I am still working on the beginners series, so just be patient and bear with me. I'm getting information. I'm just so busy with all the groups and everything else, trying to get everything situated. I sometimes don't have time for myself, so please bear with me with that. Hopefully we'll get that started soon. And remember that the Tinley show is coming up. I think we have 7 people now that have said they're going to be there and did all the requirements. So make sure that if you are going there to do those things that I asked, go back and like the 500 subscribers video, and then go to Eerie Arachnids, like that site or that group or that page. It's not a group, it's just my personal page to go along with the YouTube thing here. And I'm going to start doing more stuff with that page. I like the way that Exotic Lairs is doing his. He's tagging, or not tagging, but he's putting his videos on there, certain things and some other things that if I find interesting stuff from other people, I'll link it in there. I found that I can link stuff in there a lot easier than I can in YouTube for some odd reason, just because of my technologically unadvanced self. But anyway, so this little dude just wants to come out in the worst way. You can see as I put my hand up there, he shies away. This is Cujo, the one that molted 2 weeks now, almost 2 weeks. So we're going to try and feed him, see if he might actually be interested in eating this time. And then I have some rehouse stuff that I'll show you guys. Some new, or tarantulas, not new tarantulas, but tarantulas I've rehoused over the course of the last 3 or 4 days. A couple spiders molted. There'll be 3 that I don't think you guys have seen yet. I know 2 of them. Well, maybe you have, because I think I did put 2 of them in yesterday, but we'll look at them again anyway. So let's try and feed Cujo here and see if he's ready to eat yet. Yep, that's good. So again, check out the tarantula tag. Dark Den Petco did his video today. It's uploaded, and he tagged Tarantula Dan, which is kind of cool. We were hoping to get some of the bigger, more subscribed people there. Go check him out. I think Beginner's Burrow is also up on the clock for his video, and then there's somebody else, and I'm not quite sure who the other person is that's tagged. Actually, I think there's 4 of them going around right now, so there's probably 2 more that need to be tagged. So again, this is Cujo. This is the one, again, you saw me holding the other day. The next couple, I don't know if we'll feed. Yeah, maybe we'll try feeding the next couple too. So we'll just go one by one, and I'll just throw whatever in there. Okay, so the first one we're just going to show is the Euapolatrus campostratus, the Pink Zebra Beauty. This one molted within the last 5 days. Not ready to eat yet. Probably sometime this time next week will be most likely the time for it to gobble its first meal after molt. Beautiful little spider. I love the coloring of these, the dark contrast on the butt with the pinkish hairs, and it's almost like a grayish carapace, and the legs almost go to a gray in certain areas too. But yeah, one of my favorite species. I really like it. And again, my friend has a few females and one that she's not sure of right now. If that one molts out to be a female, then she's going to send me the female, and I'm going to send her my male. And we're thinking this one's a male, which would line up perfectly. By the time this one matures, the one that she would be sending me would be mature also, and then my male would catch up to her females, and we both would be able to pair these probably in the next 5 years or so. So she would probably be able to do hers quicker than mine, of course, because this guy would have to grow up, and that's if this guy's a guy. Yeah, so Pink Zebra Beauty molted about 4 or 5 days ago. Beautiful beginner species. One of the top 3 I would recommend getting anytime if you can find them. So okay, let's move on to something different. You're not going to see much of the spider here. This is the Holothele longipes, dwarf. They get about the same size of Dabus peniloris as adult females about 4 inches. Males are roughly around 2.5-ish. So this guy's already about 2.5. I don't know the sex of this one. This one is not molted since I got it that I remember. Oh yeah, it did molt once, but it mangled it. All I found was legs. That's right. But it's bald all the way. The whole entire abdomen is bald. So I wanted to move it out of what it was in because I think it was rubbing its abdomen going in and out. Excuse me, going in and out of the little. It was like a cow skull. I think it was actually rubbing the hairs off of its abdomen on there. So. Just a basic setup. It's just a 1/24 scale die-cast display case. You can see the spider underneath the log there. Just kind of gave him a hollowed out area for him to hang out. I'd be ecstatic if this was a female, but this is one that I may possibly be selling depending whether it's male or female. But that's one of the new homes that was made. Let's go to another. Okay, so this is the Neoholothelli Insade. I would say sub-adult. I would think that the next molt would be, we're definitely going to know what it is. I think this one also molted one time in my care when I first got it, but it was mangled. And I honestly don't know if the spider is underneath there because that's where it's been hanging out, or it actually went underneath the log there where I made the starter burrow for it. I've seen it in both places. We can try and feed it. I don't know if he'll come out. This has only been about 4 or 5 days worth of work for this guy, so it's really done some serious webbing. Yeah, there he is. There he is. See, he was underneath here, so he's living underneath the antlers there, which is pretty cool. Great species, again, a dwarf species. Females get roughly about 2.5 inches. Males can vary. I think the largest male I've seen was about 2.25. But I think the general size about 1.75 to 2 inches is usually a normal size for them. And this one here is already right around 2 inches. So I'm suspecting that this one's a female, which would give me 2 because we do have the already adult female. So and then of course my communal of 4 that I only see 2, but there's spots where the other 2 could be buried. So that's another rehouse that I did. I know you guys, I'll show you guys some of the other things that I did before real quick, if they're right here. I think they're right here. I'll show you what we're going to actually see them. You could see how you can't go wrong with these spiders, really, honestly. I mean, they're very good aggressive eaters. When they're not in pre-molt. They do take their time in pre-molt, but generally they're very aggressive. They will eat prey as big as them without any problem. A lot of the dwarf species are like that. You know, the ones that are right around that 2.5 inch mark to 4 inch mark are generally very aggressive eaters, like Hapalopus speciecolumbia large, the Dabus penniloris, these guys, even the African species, the Heterothelli filicella and the Heterothelli gaboensis. Yeah, gaboensis. They're really aggressive. Those ones are much smaller, though. I think those ones only get about 2 inch, if that. The African dwarf species. I've had both of them. They're a lot of fun. They can be kept communally. The Velocella seem to do a little bit better than the gaboensis do. But what's cool about the gaboensis is they've been found to be both living in, hollowed out trees, stumps, and higher up logs. It's something that I may in the future get into again, because I'm kind of digging the baboons again a little bit, like I first did when I first started getting into the baboons. I wanted to get them all, and like I said, I've had those, but they didn't live very long for me. Look at that thing. So yeah, okay, so that's that one. Let's move on to something else. So this one here was a rehouse today. This is the female Euathlus species red. Geez, I keep getting the Euathlus and the Euopalaestrus campostratus mixed up when I want to say them, but this is Tawny. The Chilean flame rump is what the commonly used common name is. I moved her out of the 1/24 scale die-cast enclosure, the little bigger ones, into the mini football helmet cube. This is perfect for her. The length and the width, and she doesn't She doesn't really dig, but I gave her an area where she can go into a hollow log now if she wants to hide, but she's generally out. We had bonding time today because she came out, so I was holding her for just a little bit. I think it was actually about 30 to 40 seconds or so, and then I put her into this enclosure. It was a lot easier for me to not try to cup her or just let her do her thing. I just kind of tapped her a few times. She crawled out into my hand. I put my hand into the enclosure. She waited a few seconds and then crawled off and then got into here. So yeah, so she's rehoused now. Again, just the mini football helmet display case. I really like these. These are perfect for spiders that are, you know, 3.5, almost a 4-inch, depending on what the species is. You can keep them in here for a good long time. I've raised 2 mature Monocentropas belforis in these males, and 1 Chromatopelma cyaneo pubescent mature male in this one. And if Arkham ends up being a male, he'll live in his enclosure the whole time too. Female will be a little bit too big for these, but these work out pretty good for, you know, again, they don't need a ton of room. It's okay to give them a bunch of room if you have that ability to do it, but they really don't need a ton of room, because basically their enclosure is their big burrow, and anything you put in it is just stuff that's going to be inside their burrow now. So really that's kind of how it all plays out if you really think about it. You know, they're encased, they're protected, they know they're protected, so they don't need a ton of room, just some room to eat and molt and hide, really. That's about it. And, you know, I mean, even honestly, if you keep them in a dark place, you don't even need to provide hides for them, because that dark room and that enclosure will be their hide and their burrow and everything else that goes along with it. So, I mean, I don't recommend not giving them hides. I like to, but it's not absolutely 100% necessary. So let's move to the next. We probably won't see this spider, but we'll see the new setup for it. I'm not going to see this guy here or this girl. I'm hoping this one's a girl. I'm praying this one's a girl. This is the Pteranopelma sazerae. Got a real nice fat butt, but not really dark yet. So this was the old enclosure for the Brachypelma albiceps before I moved it into the football display case, or football helmet display case. Mini football helmet display case. So I kind of left this log here, if you see. This worked out perfectly because of the way it sat, you know, and it's got a little bit back here. You could put the dirt on, and then the spider just had a natural den. And she's actually dug out more and moved it to different places. She just has a little tiny opening to get in underneath, way back in there, way back in that area right there. That's where she's at right now. So hopefully, I saw Jay from Boxing Boa, his sazerae molted, got some blues. I'm still waiting for the blues on this one, and then I have the smaller one as well that I believe should have molted probably 2 months ago. Just kind of holding back on me. So yeah, the Pteranopelma sazerae, and I'm making labels today to try to get everybody labeled. I got to go through each enclosure to make sure that everybody's got a label on them, because I know I've kind of missed a bunch of them. So all these new ones, I've made up a handful of labels this morning, and that's my goal by the end of today, is to have every single enclosure with a label on it, and one more rehouse. So let's look at the next spider that I rehoused. Okay, so this is Allison, Brachypelma vagans, Mexican red rump. This is the one that molted a week and a half ago. We fed it once already. We're going to give it another feed today. Rehoused her about an hour ago. This will be an enclosure for at least a molt or two until she needs her permanent home. I'm not a big fan of putting them in the bigger homes when they're smaller. Part of that is because of my spatial issues, but if I had less tarantulas, I probably would have more of the glass enclosures anyway. So, you know, it is kind of my goal to get down to a certain point, but I just have such a hard time looking at them of which ones that I really wouldn't mind losing, because they all have certain special meanings to me, and it's kind of difficult to, you know, whittle down a collection after you had it. And I know that, you know, another big thing that's been talked about, there's a few people that despise the term collection because they're living animals, and they feel that, you know, they shouldn't be, you know, labeled as a commodity. But it's okay. So I'm not going to call it my collection anymore. I'm going to call it my zoo, just to appease a few people that don't like the term collection, because they feel that collections should be dead specimens. But yeah. So anyway, that's where we're at. So we're going to feed her real quick. see if she will take this. She was just a peach to move in here. No issues whatsoever with her. It was a very, very calm rehouse. I did the cup method with her. Just put a transfer cup over top of her. She crawled right into it. Put the transfer cup back in here. Put it on its side. Just gave her a couple taps and she crawled right out. Now, she may not want to eat because she's now in a new home, but it's actually kind of surprising me, to be honest with you. I do try and feed them relatively quickly after I rehouse. A lot of people don't like that. They don't think that. They think you should let them settle for a little while. And my theory on that is if you move them, you know, the idea of moving them from a comforted area that they were in before to a new area, they're not sure of the surroundings. Now, you can say, yes, you know, the argument would be to let them de-stress and let them, you know, start to web a little bit, get accustomed to where they're at, where you can see she's already done some webbing right here. I like to give them the opportunity to eat right away so that they know wherever that they're at right now, there's food present for them. Yeah, and it may not work for everybody, but this is how I do things again. And that's the good part about this hobby, is that things that work for one keeper may not work for another. Or, you know, our views just are differently and you know, are different. Our views being different is perfectly fine too. I don't have a problem with that. And I do like to have discussions because I like to learn new ways and the way other people do things too. Because it may change the way I do something, or maybe the way I do something can help change the way somebody else does something. But yeah, so that's this one. We're going to feed one more spider, and then we'll end with feeding that one spider. But I'm going to show you one more quick thing. Just because she did something completely odd to me and I wasn't really ready for it, and I'll explain it to you when I show you. Real quickly, this is the Cereocosmus ori female that's hopefully gravid. And if you remember right, the enclosure was much more webbed up. She had this as a hide over on this side of the enclosure, and she had blocked it all up. It was completely blocked off. So I was leaving her alone, and then I put her into the 5-gallon aquarium. It's got the heat pad that we had the scorpions in, just to create some warmth in the enclosure to help her, you know, want to lay eggs, and then of course to help incubate them while they're there. Brachypelma vagans just got the cricket. Well, I looked at her this morning. That stone, the entrance was completely open. And I was like, oh, what's going on there? Kind of freaked me out. So I got the enclosure. I brought it over here to the table. I opened it up. I looked at it. She wasn't in there. I was like, where did she go? Now, this lid, not that I really honestly believe that she could get it off, but this is probably the loosest lid that I have. It's not hard to actually pull right back up again. And I was like, uh-oh. Did she actually push up on that, sneak out to go lay her egg someplace else where she felt more secure? So I was just checking underneath the you know, there's a bunch of this sphagnum moss and a couple leaves and stuff in here she had webbed up, and I was like, she's not in here. Where could she go? And then I forgot about this little log here, this little piece of bark. Well, she's under there. That's where she dug underneath there, and I don't even know how she did it, because it's like there was no dirt moved. I don't know how she got underneath there. She was like undetected, but she's dug out a hollow and she's underneath there. So I'm sure this is where she's going to lay her eggs. Hopefully in the next 30 days. Hopefully heating her up will get her to that mark. The dwarf species usually lay pretty quickly after you give them that rainy period. You know, and you can see the dirt is still somewhat damp and moist. So I'm hoping that's what it is, and it's going to be easier for me now if I want to check on her, because, you know, I mean, she doesn't have anything webbed up here. All we have to do is lift this up, and then you can see her underneath there. So we'll be able to see it when and if she does lay her eggs. So it's much less me screwing around if I did want to check on her, because trust me, being in that rock was killing me because she sealed it all up. And when I saw it open, I was like, uh-oh. And I was like, maybe she molted instead. And, you know, I would have been devastated. But that's where she's at. So hopefully this is where we're going to have little babies. And Riley, if this girl actually ends up laying eggs, the first one of these babies that gets the second instar and eats for the first time will be yours. So, because I think I'll have babies out of these ones before I get anything in from my males that I sent out, because I haven't heard from anybody about the males yet. I would have expected that the Nandu chromatus would have most likely have laid an egg sac by now, but and the versicolor too. But I haven't heard anything from them. Maybe I'll give them a call or a text this weekend, see what's going on. Okay, I forgot two spiders molted. You know about the Brachypelma shorteri. It's a male, unfortunately, and it still has the lighter carapace yet, so it's not completely black. I always wonder sometimes, you know, because the shorteri and a verdezi look very, very similar in the beginning. That, you know, you always wonder if, well, maybe somebody got them mixed up and it's actually a verdezi versus a shorteri, but I guess they don't really get real black until 2.5 to 3 inch mark is what somebody told me. I don't know because I've never kept them before. So I'm going to show you somebody that's really, really special that molted yesterday. And I actually called it. If you remember watching the video, you'll know exactly who it is. Okay, so if you watched my video last night of who was out this evening video, you remember I said that, oh, Obi's not out, which is kind of odd because Obi's always been out. Hasn't really used this cork tube at all, except for when I first put him in there. So I was like, oh, he might be molting, because he was looking rather, you know, his abdomen was getting bigger, he was starting to get shiny and dark, and well, he molted overnight. I woke up this morning, I checked on him, and the molt was up here on the top, and he was down in the back. Pulled the molt out just to be sure that we have a male, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're definitely a male. Well, he was out just a little bit ago. He's really, 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 really pretty. It's such a joy, again, you know, and some of you know this, when you have that little tiny sling that's just a little brown blob, you know, that you get in as a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch spider, and you know, you raise it for 3.5, 4 years, and then you look at, you know, the change in the color, the change in the pattern, the size that they grow, and it's just amazing how pretty these spiders actually are. And he still has a few years before he would even mature yet, so he's only around 4 years old, maybe 4.5 at the most, and we're probably at the 4 inch mark right now. So they still get big as males, this species, the Brachypelma hamori. You can have some good sized males. Sometimes you don't really know that they're males side by side from a female unless you know that, you know, they get a little spindly, of course, when they mature, but you don't really know until, you know, you check with a molt, of course, or they hook out and mature that way. But you know, I was very excited. He came through the molt fine. He's been very active for such a recently molted spider, to be honest with you. He's been walking around the enclosure on and off all day long. And he was at the water dish a little while ago. As a matter of fact, I filled it up. I might as well put some more water in there now. You know, it's a big thing for them when they molt, is to make sure that you have water available for them. And this was a question that was asked to me the other day, as a matter of fact. Here's how the question went. I went to check on my spider to give it water. The spider was molting. Should I take the lid off and put water in there? Well, it depends on the lid, first of all, okay? And it depends on where the spider's at. If you can get the lid off without too much trouble, then go ahead and do it. If not, if it's going to be too much of a, you know, shaking the enclosure, and, you know, some of these lids for these enclosures, these plastic acrylics, are a little tight, I wouldn't do it. I would just let them molt. Once they're through with the molt and they flip back over, then you have that ability to go ahead and get in there and put some water in there. But try to make sure that you give them some hydration after it. I mean, you know, it's hard to keep up with a bunch of spiders, keeping water available for them all the time. It'd be a daily event. For 100 spiders, there's a lot of spiders to be giving water. I know keepers that don't even use water dishes, period. They get all their hydration out of their feeders, and all their spiders do perfectly fine. So I just wanted to show you him, and then we're going to end with the Homoioma species blue. We're going to feed that guy, and we'll end it there. So here's that gorgeous guy, Homoioma species blue, that wicked coloring. We're going to throw a little cricket. Oh yeah, we're just going to eat that right off the bat. No miss. That's a catcher right there. We're going to try giving him one more because they're not very big. See if he's interested in a second. No, we're going to hold it down. See how they grab it? He's holding it down. He hasn't grabbed it with his fangs yet, but there we go. I mean, look at this dude. Seriously, how could you not want one of these? I mean, they're almost as pretty as a GVB, to be honest with you. It's my opinion. I mean, I'm a big, orange fan. I love orange. It's that, that burnt orange on him. And he's got that kind of grayish, creamish carapace with those blue legs, and those orange striations are just, they're top notch. It's a very interesting spider. I'm glad I have another one. This is definitely something that, I would look into getting a few more slings of these. Something I wouldn't mind having 4 or 5 of. There's only a handful of spiders that I keep that I wouldn't mind having, 4 or 5 or 6 of them. I mean, I already have 6 of the Neoholthellienses, and it's not one that I would say I would like to have 6 of. They're fun to keep, but there's so many other ones that, I would prefer. This one here, I have 3 GVBs, but I would have 6 Ceratojaurus darlingis without any kind of qualms whatsoever. Salmopaeus pulchers the same way, Poecilotherius obfusca. I have 5 of the Belfories. Again, it's a species that I love to have. I love them because I have them, and no, Edward Tyndall, you're not going to get them. I'm not ready to get rid of those. The Orphanachus philippinus is another one. The Ephiboppus marinus, the Ephiboppus rufescens. There's a handful of them that I wouldn't mind really specializing in and trying to just continually breed them on, throughout. But this is definitely one, of a good, beautiful terrestrial species that it doesn't web, it doesn't dig, it's just out. I mean, he's just out. He's out all the time. The other sling never's dug at all. It's a great eater, just like this one is. Pray that one's a female, because these are just such beautiful species. So that's my beginning March Madness, and we'll do, I think actually instead of doing one a month or one a week, because I don't know how enough stuff to do every week with March Madness, we'll do bring in the month of March with March Madness, and then end the month with March Madness, and we'll throw in different stuff. At the end we'll do quick hits inside there, and any other molt updates or updates on the Cereocosmus ori. My Phaunopelma chalcodes, she just doesn't look like she wants to do anything at all, period. I need to check my Dabus pennilorus male today, see how he's doing. But yeah, so again, check out everybody's tarantula tags. Go hit those guys up on YouTube. Try and support, the people that are doing this. The way that YouTube is gone now, and I've never done monetization because I was never really there, but I'm realizing that the monetization for YouTube isn't actually all that bad, because no one's really paying for anything. YouTube is just paying me to put ads on a thing, but I need to be at 250,000 minutes watched, I think, or 200,000 minutes. No, it's 240,000 minutes watched, and I'm at like 52 or 53,000. So I got a long way to go before I get to that milestone and the 1,000 subscribers. So I'm 300 and some odd subscribers away from 1,000, and I'm a good 150,000 subscribers away. This light's already dying. That's the only bad thing about this ring light, is it the charge doesn't take long to charge, but it doesn't stay on for a very long time. So yeah, go support those guys. Everybody's in that Tarantula tag. Go check them out. You know, if you're not subscribed to their channels, watch a few of their videos. If you like them, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't hurt, you know, and it helps everybody out a little bit to get closer to that goal. Because again, you know, anything that I would get from YouTube would always go back into the hobby. Whether it's, you know, my goal is to get to that point and start doing monetization. I'd like to get a new GoPro, one that's got the screen that I could see, like the GoPro 5 is what I was recommended by from Trey Beck. I have a GoPro Hero Plus, and I can video with it fine. I'm just having a hard time with it on the computer. I don't know what, every time I film with it, when I upload it to the computer, it's really jaggedy. The video, it almost like it stalls and, you know, or pauses and then starts moving again. So I'm still learning that, and of course getting the angles with it, because I'd like to use it when I go to Buffalo. That's my goal, is to actually be able to use the GoPro to do a video log there when we go to Buffalo in May. So people have asked me to do some video logs around here. There's not really much to do a video log of, because not many places here have tarantulas. We only have really one exotic that I would call an exotic pet store, and that's Buzz and Bees, and they mostly have fish as their main thing there, and they have some really cool birds. So next time I go down there, I'll ask them if they have a problem with me doing a video log. Some people don't like to do it because, you know, their enclosure setups aren't the greatest. Buzz and Bees does a pretty good job of taking care of their animals, so it's not really that issue. It's they don't have really many tarantulas. I think they only have one left there right now. I think it's a pink toe. Same thing with, you know, the mall's got a HMAC that's buried. You can't even see it. And of course, Petco and PetSmart. Petco doesn't have any, and PetSmart's out right now. They don't have any either right now. So me doing a video log of, you know, spiders around here isn't really going to get me anywhere. So, you know, I'm going to have to go to Buffalo to do that. And, you know, we're talking about maybe hitting the Cleveland show when the Cleveland show comes, and then going down to the Pittsburgh show. Not that I'm going to go down there and buy anything, but, you know, my brother and I can go hang out, and my daughter likes to go to those things. She's an animal lover too, so yeah. So that's our goal. Maybe we can, you know, meet up with some of the subscribers and take some pictures and hang out. Hopefully I'll have Kat's working on a logo or a couple logos for me so I can pick. Hopefully we'll get that done pretty soon, and we'll be able to get that up on a channel, and then I can do stuff like shirts and stuff like that, or decals is what I'd like to do, is at least do stickers or something like that. And we'll go from there. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and thanks again for all the support, and all the support that I know you guys give to the other people that do YouTube videos out there. And, you know, there's been a lot of people that on the groups have been recommending me in the same sentence as Tom Moran, as far as you know, educational videos, and that really means a lot to me. Well, you didn't get that, or cricket, because I really look up to Tom. Tom's done a really good job over the course of his career with his blogs, and now he's doing podcasts, and, you know, he just has really good information. He's very good at writing, which is not my forte. I'm not good at English as far as paragraphing and sentencing and stuff like that, or I would do more stuff like that. I always get off on a tangent, and then my topics don't match, and, you know, my wife always like, why'd you write this up here and then talk about it again down here? So yeah, it really means a lot to me to be, you know, mentioned in the same sentence with Tom. It's really appreciated, and I know that Tom's a good guy. He's been watching a lot of videos lately, and look forward to his podcast coming up. I haven't caught his podcast, and I'm not really sure where to do that. So if anybody knows, leave me a message down below, or I'll try to get hold of Tom. I know Tom's a busy guy. It's school year and everything. So, okay, well, all the lights are dead, so that's good for me. We'll talk to you guys later. Sayonara, see you later, adios, arrivederci.